On today's show, long recap, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Weird week in college basketball. Kyle got a haircut. He doesn't have glasses. He looks kind of weird without the glasses. Either way, it's a new week. It's a new us. So without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome to the episode of Sitting Courtside. Today is Tuesday, February 27th. And if you haven't figured it out yet, Navy shirts are in.
Didn't even notice that.
Oh, the mind wanders over here, buddy. Mind of 1,000 brains or something. I don't know. Navy blue is in. Oh, is that a firefighter shirt too?
It is, yes.
I didn't know you were a volunteer firefighter.
I am not.
Definitely knew you weren't. Not with those eyes.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, for full transparency, I usually have a pretty detailed rundown that kind of shows where we're going to go through the show. I had about 5 minutes to put it together today, so we're going to kind of go off the cuff today. But we do have to recap basically a whole week's worth of basketball. We'll focus more on the weekend. But I think there's one place we have to start because it's where we started last podcast, talking wildly awesome about UConn, saying that they're just the only team that you can trust in college basketball. And then, of course, the very next game after the podcast, absolutely rolled by Creighton.
Yeah.
And then if this is just a perfect example for college basketball, we thought UConn was the best after they blew out Marquette. They got blown out by Creighton. And then, of course, Creighton on Sunday loses by 14 to St. John's. It's just, if you can figure out this college basketball season, you must be making a lot of money because I cannot figure it out anymore.
You know what I hate is both of those spots were so obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
UConn has this massive 30-point win in a top 5 matchup. Of course, they weren't going to cover against Creighton.
Mm-hmm.
Outright lose is a little bit tough.
Yeah.
Creighton, biggest win of the year. Of course, they were going to lose on the road at St. John's.
Yeah.
Of course they were.
And
absolute took the cheese on both.
Yep, me too. Same. I took both UConn and Creighton and lost both of those, definitely. 12 ranked teams lost at some point in the last week. So the polls have of course been changing, but I wanted to just real quick take a look at the polls because from 4 to 11 are all teams that are 21-6. I don't know how you differentiate those teams. If you look last year, the top 7 teams in the nation had 5 or less losses at this time last year, and only 3 teams in the entire top 10 had 6 or 7 losses. So this parity this year is even worse than, or even more than last year. And we thought last year was pretty, there was all kinds of parity last year too. I remember starting multiple podcasts.
Yes. Yes. I think that last year was the year of parity. This year is the year of, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because this is the crazy part. As much as we talk about this and we sit up here and we're going to say that UConn's maybe not as good as we thought they were, they're still probably going to run train all the way to the Final Four. It'll be an awesome tournament, and we're still going to end up with I have zero doubt in my mind at this point. It's going to be some combination of Houston, Purdue, UConn, and then name 4th team that gets hot.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, not to jump ahead here, Kentucky looked pretty fucking hot on Saturday.
Yeah, they did. They looked very impressive. All right, so we have to start where I know everyone that listens to this podcast knows I'm a huge Duke fan, so we have to address the elephant in the room. What is your opinion on court storming?
Okay, so I actually do have a strong opinion on this after the whole. I've had it for a while, but it's not cared enough. Mm-hmm. Love court storming.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. Okay, but we need to start setting some guidelines. Okay, these college kids have lost their mind on what regards a court storm and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Wake Forest had every right to win that game. That was not a position to storm the court. Not to mention
they were favorites.
You were favorites in the game, which gambling maybe that makes it more obvious, but that is a game you go into and you think you can win. You know, when you storm the court, when you have zero chance of winning to the public and you actually win, right? If this was a classic Wake Forest team in the last 5 years where they're 8-17 and you win, sure. And even then, I don't even think Duke's ranking really warrants a storm court storming.
Stormed court.
I can't. I keep wanting to say it that way, but like I think we've made it too. Like we wanted to do it so badly. Nice plug here with the Duke Cup. We want to do it so badly that we make any excuse to do it. Same thing happens in football when they storm the field. Like, come on, guys. It needs to either be your dog shit and you just beat your rival, who's a top 10 team, or your dog shit and you beat a top 5 team. Those are the only parameters. Under no circumstances should you ever do it other than those.
I agree. I completely agree. And I didn't recap the game real quick, but Duke lost by 4 at Wake Forest. If you did not watch the game, but like the last 4 minutes on, there was constantly people talking to the coach and to the announcers about how this court was going to be stormed if they won. So it wasn't a shock to anybody. Literally, when they called the timeout with 1.8 seconds left, all the fans were already on the sideline. So first off, we got to do a little bit better keeping them back for at least a second after the game.
Yes.
We can't just
I seen better security at a football field.
Yeah. They were on the court before the horn actually blew. That's how quickly they were on the court.
And so, just sidebar to that. I'm sorry. What's the excitement in that?
Yeah.
Like you have to feel the energy. Was the energy really that high?
Yeah, I mean,
like
you said though, like how do you storm a court after being favorites in a basketball game?
Well, and again, I feel like part of the like storming of the court is like the energy with like the team and the coaches. No player on that team should have been like that jacked for winning that game. They should have went into the game expecting to win.
Yeah.
It just turned into like the students getting happy to get to put their feet on hardwood.
Well, I want to give a little bit of blame to Shire too, because Kyle Clifton of Valparaiso, Indiana, with the mimosa in hand, knew that with 1.8 seconds left, seeing all the talk about the students going to be on the court. They literally, I said before, like as the timeout was going, let's say they had to go to commercial. I said Shire better not have a single starter out there when they come back because they were down 4. They had no chance to tie the game. Yeah. And then when I saw all of them out there, I was like, what is he doing? And then, of course, just like the most unlucky thing ever happens, Filipkowski gets ran into right after he pushes a guy by a student. And it sounds like he's going to be okay, but I give Shire a little bit of grief here too. Like you got to know, like there's no chance of you winning that game.
Yeah, or better yet, I give it like 80% Shire, 20% Filipkowski. Like, dude, you're a top 10 pick in the NBA. Be smart. Just coach wants me on the court. Cool. I'm gonna stand next to him.
Yep.
I don't know but what's the point? You gonna magically score a 5-point play?
Yeah, and of course the play like was drawn up for him to catch the ball in the middle of the court, so giving him absolutely no chance to get to the sideline before the fans are on the court. But
ridiculous either way.
Yeah. All right, let's go back a little bit into the week, though. I just knew everybody would want to know what our opinion, because that's all it seems to be on. Like all.
Hey! Actually, really quickly, how worried are you about Duke?
I'm not worried.
1 to 10. I don't know. Just like a little worried, a lot of worried.
Well, I think we do have something for this actually. On the worryometer, I would say we'd like to call it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see from 1 to 10.
Or is it a worryometer?
We did get a little
bad radio.
We did get a little bit of a prop sent to us. So if you're watching on video, you will now see on the worryometer.
It's the only way you can. It's only on YouTube, Kyle.
That's true. But I will say, when I listen to it, I just turn my phone over and just listen.
Okay,
but anyway,
that's fair.
We did get something sent to us. And on 3, we're going to reveal it. 1, 2, 3.
Gotta look at the camera.
I know. I gave it a 3, which if you look at it on our screen, it is a little worried on the worryometer sent to us by Robert Bob Boyle. Thank you very much for the prop. We'll be using it.
Beeper Bob?
Beeper Bob?
I don't know if that's, you said Robert. That's what came to my mind.
I like it. He also sent us a nice letter with this.
That was the greatest letter. That's the greatest letter. I don't care what anyone says. That letter, my wife has zero interest in the show, and even she was laughing when she read the letter.
So what was your number? I didn't even get to see it.
8.1.
8.1.
An 8.1 worryometer. Also, I think he did do a play on words because we had the argument over worryometer and worryometer. Also, I just realized he put an apostrophe in there. Is that for my name?
I don't know. We'll
If it is, that's great. That's great marketing, great graphics. It's probably not, but whatever. The reason I say that, Kyle.
Yes.
I want to take you back to a time.
Oh gosh.
In November maybe late October. I don't know. When me and you made national title picks,
Yeah. Yeah.
Duke was both of our national title picks. They do not look a national title
No.
team.
No.
I'm pretty worried. I'm
They
pretty
haven't looked
worried.
like a national title team basically all year. So I will agree with that. But from like I think they can still make a run in the tournament. They're not national title good though.
I don't know, man. I could think of like 15 teams I would trust more than Duke right now.
Really, because they have elite guard play, which usually does well in the tournament. So that's why.
Yeah, the problem is they're so inconsistent.
Yeah, they are.
I think they have the talent to win the title. I don't think they can consistently put it together for 6 games, 5 games.
Yeah. Yeah, and Filipkowski, man, he is really taking a step back this season. He is not the same player he was late last year. It's more like the beginning of the season Filipkowski from last year.
Yeah, fair.
All right, let's move it back a little bit in the week because I want to talk about some upsets that happened early on before the weekend. This is a team that I know I haven't been on all season, but like I'm officially out. I know they had a decent win on Saturday, but Illinois lost at Penn State 90-89, and they got a great performance from Shannon and still blew this game. I'm done with them. I'm done with Illinois. I'm not like I never was on them, but I won't be on them the rest of
I'm
the
so
season.
happy I was never remotely close to being on them. But how are you up 10 points with 2:38 to play and you lose to Penn State? Penn State, okay? They're dog crap. Illinois is not good. Quite frankly, they might be on one of my very first teams I'm marking as an upset in the tournament because they're going to probably get a decent seed and they're going to blow it.
Yeah. Another team that actually on the other end of this, we liked them at the beginning of the season. Colorado State, man. I don't know what to do with them. They just lose every time I pick them. I know last podcast we talked about this. They lost at New Mexico. We did pick that one right, but they now have 7 losses in the Mountain West because they also lost on Saturday at UNLV. They're probably on the bubble right now.
Oh yeah, they 100% are. 100%. Like the courtside curse is in full effect here. 4 episodes I think ago, I was the one that brought it up that they're going to beat up on each other so much that only like 2 of them are going to get in. And I do think they have probably 6 tournament teams, honestly.
Definitely.
Like I trust them more than I do the Big 12.
Yeah.
And they're going to beat the crap out of each other, and whoever wins that, and then maybe San Diego State and Utah are really the 2 locks. Because even beyond that, New Mexico lost on the road over the weekend.
Yep.
And everyone's like, "Oh, that hurts their status as a bubble team." And some of the experts were like, "They weren't even a bubble team. I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah. Wow.
Like what?
Yeah. I'm looking right now just at our old buddy Joe Lenardi to see who he has, and right now I'm seeing he actually has 6 Mountain West teams in, but they all but 2 of them are 7 seeds or worse. So like they're a bad week away from being right squarely on that bubble.
We called this, I think, actually. We 100% said that if they got more than 2 teams in, they'd all be like crappy seeds in prime upset fashion or like just not favorable matchups.
Yeah.
Like that's the line right there where you're going to get Boise State versus like freaking name team, I don't know, Baylor, let's say. Right? Like that should not be a first round matchup.
Yeah. What I thought was probably the biggest weekday upset was number 21 Washington State. We gave them absolutely no chance to go in Arizona even cover. They won the game outright 77-74. So they kind of played a different style than normal. And this team's legit, man. Like you gotta get this team on your television if you're able to stay up late at night and watch this Pac-12 matchups because they are legit and they are great at defense.
Yes. We knew they were a good team. We did. We just thought that Arizona was a bad matchup. It's really all it came down to, and Arizona didn't execute. So realistically, from a surprise meter, it was a 1 because we knew they were good.
Yeah.
We just didn't think they were going to be able to compete with the up and down flow.
Yeah. Yep. And then there's nothing really to review from. Well, actually, there is one thing to review from on Friday's games. No ranked teams played, but we had a real big matchup in the Ivy League. Yale played against Cornell. Cornell got the win 65-62. They now sit at 20-4, 9-1 in the Ivy League, and they look like they're the front runners to be the team that we see in March in the big bracket.
Yep. I think it was our 3rd episode of the year. We had the what are your trends for the year, and I told everyone jump on the Ivy League.
Yep.
Cornell, Princeton, elite teams.
Yep.
Both should make it in. Only one will, and that's a travesty. And the other one, I'm calling it now, will win the NIT.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's a good
Both
call. I
are
like that.
amazing teams.
Yeah. All right, let's move it to Saturday where we had one of the games of the year. It was a hell of a game to watch. It looked like it was going to be a blowout after the first half, but number 2, Houston holds on in overtime over number 11, Baylor. They had a 16-point lead at halftime. Houston did. Baylor stormed back, had a chance to win it before the end of regulation. Their big man missed a three-pointer. Houston actually hit a shot to win the game, but it was after the buzzer sounded, and then Baylor just kept turning the ball over and overtime and squashed their opportunity for sure.
Yep. I will say now that we've watched Houston play enough like big time competition, they 100% have the leadership and tenure, like those seniors, to really win a title, but they scared the shit out of me from a talent perspective. They go on so many streaks of not putting the ball in the basket.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can do it that many games in a row. Cause like, I think at one point they were up 22-4 on Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
That was a game you just like, okay, cool. Well, I thought it was going to be good. You watch the last 5.5 minutes. That's when Baylor comes back. And I thought there was a 0 chance Houston was winning in overtime.
Mm-hmm. I thought so too. I thought Baylor had that.
They basically, they have to do what kind of Washington State does. You play excellent defense, hope you get a couple scores. And before you know it, you're up 11-1. And then hopefully that's enough of a gap that they just don't catch you at that point. But Houston's worrisome. They're worrisome.
I will say I was a little shocked Houston was able to win a game when Shed only had 12 points. He's their star like guard. Him and Cryer both had bad shooting days, but they still got good production from just about every starter. So
can I be honest too? I don't think he's good.
Shed?
Yeah, I don't think he's a good player.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. Like, I need to be more clear about this, I guess. He's a good basketball player, guys. He plays for Houston. Obviously, he's a good basketball player. But like, I just don't think he's like good. If that makes like, he's just not good for the level that they play at.
Yeah.
Like, you could convince me right now that he plays for like Tulane, and of course he's the 7th guy off the bench for Tulane. Like, he's not good.
Another result. It wasn't an upset, but I thought it was a pretty big win because it now gives them the sole possession of the ACC. North Carolina goes into Virginia and plays Virginia style, winning 54-44. It was one of the most boring games ever to watch, but I mean, Virginia dragged them through the mud, and they still got the win. North Carolina,
I didn't realize that whenever I said Virginia would be the only team that has ever come back from the dead, that they were going to be literally a fucking zombie.
Yeah.
How do you score 16 points and a half and think you're going to win the game?
Yeah.
Also, I seen a stat the other day. I don't know if I brought this up last time. My brain can't keep up with time, keep up with plenty of other things like blue shirts, but they play 3 possessions slower than any other team in the country.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
How is that possible whenever there's a shot clock?
Yeah, it's so true.
I don't know how. And like, where are you as a coach? You're like, yep, we're just going to grind them out. We're going to have 7 possessions this half and just hope we score 3s on all of them.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Well, when you watch them, so many of their possessions end up, whoever has the ball left with 3 seconds takes a really crappy 3. That's what ends up happening on most of their possessions.
That's the problem I have with them. The national title team, they ran efficient offense, and which usually ended in a layup. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you just look at each other and you're like, I don't want the ball. No, I don't want it. No, you take it. And then, oh shit. What are we doing?
Yeah.
You don't have Kyle Guy in your team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have Kyle Guy.
Shout out Kyle Guy
again. You mentioned this game already, but number 13, Alabama, gets absolutely whooped by number 17, Kentucky, scoring 117 points, winning this one 117-95.
In regulation.
Yeah, in regulation.
Absolutely boat raced them.
Yeah.
That Kentucky team can win a national title.
Yeah.
That Kentucky team is what we thought we were seeing in November before they got the 7-footers.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, and then of course, how the Saturday ended, BYU beat by Kansas State 84-74. This now makes BYU just 7-7 in the Big 12, dropping out of the top 25. Do you still have faith in these BYU?
Dude, seriously, if they can just play all of their tournament games in Provo, I feel great about it.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
But it's just and it's not the worst part too is it's not even like they're even in the games.
Uh-huh.
They're
Yeah.
always down by like 8 to 12 points.
I was about to say it always seems like it's a 10-point lead, and it's just like, well, they're
It's
not gonna
always-
get back in this.
like they hover there. They just hover. They make you. They stay in it enough that you think maybe they can get back into it, but they just lull you to sleep.
It's so true.
And then before you know it, you wake up. It's 4 a.m. and they lost by 10.
Yeah.
Like
It's so true. And then the last game I wanted to highlight from the weekend is FAU. They lose to Memphis. Memphis went into this game, I think, on a 3-game losing streak. I had no more hope for Memphis. They beat Florida Atlantic. This drops Florida Atlantic to 21-7, 11-4 in the American. Getting a little worried about them. I know we've already mentioned that their seeding is going to be pretty bad in the tournament.
Yeah.
A couple more losses in the American, and they'll be getting closer to that bubble.
Yeah. So this is one that I didn't put out because I think I felt weird. I obviously have Memphis preseason Final Four. FAU I thought was a really good team. So I didn't give this out as a stat or a pick, but FAU following the trend line, 3 straight conference road games, always ends in being down. They were one of the few teams, I think one of like 6 teams this year that had 3 straight road games. It was obvious they're going to lose to Memphis after skirting by USF. And then I don't even know who else they freaking played in that skirt. But anyway, 3 straight road games. Kind of knew they're going to lose to Memphis. So
Yep.
I didn't give it as a pick. I felt dirty doing it.
Yeah. All right. For the rest of the podcast, we'll be giving out our records, our new top 10s, and some picks for the week. So do you have your top 10 ready?
Top 10? Absolutely, I do.
All right.
All right. Top 10 in very specific order. Houston, UConn, Purdue. In no specific order, because who the hell knows? We have a massive gap, like the size of the Grand Canyon. And again, in no specific order, Marquette, Washington State, Iowa State, Alabama, Baylor, guns up, Texas Tech, because I don't know. And then the last team on here, I don't care, pick a team.
Oh, I like it.
Because literally you could go with Auburn, you could go with Kentucky, you could go with Creighton, you could go with San Diego State, you could go with Utah State, you could go with, need I say more?
No.
Tennessee.
No.
I didn't have Tennessee in here. You go with Arizona, you go with Kansas. There's so many teams. I don't know. I don't know. Pick your poison. I don't know. What do you like? Do you like the purple Skittle? You like the green Skittle? You like the yellow Skittle? You like the pink Starburst? I don't know. Pick one.
Yeah, that's basically what they're doing in the AP poll too. Just okay, who's 21-6? All right, put them straight in from 4 to 11. We don't need to really decide who's the best.
But actually, that is for real, because then you look down the lane there, and you have all the mid-major conferences who have better records, but they just stick them in between 20 to 25. Even Gonzaga actually has come up. I think they're like 26-5. They're like 23rd.
Yep.
Who beat Kentucky at Kentucky, by the way? People forget.
Yeah.
People forget.
All right, my top 10, my top 3 is the exact same as you: Houston, UConn, Purdue. I have Tennessee at number 4, Marquette 5, Iowa State 6, Arizona 7, UNC 8, Kansas 9, and then I put at number 10 St. Mary's. That is my top 10.
So I had St. Mary's in my list of teams. I'm like, that seems like a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, and I basically did that.
Go ahead.
I basically did that because of a game we're going to preview later. I was like, hey, let's put them in the top 10.
I can live with that. Also, I've decided I don't believe in North Carolina.
Okay.
I know what we talked about before, but I don't trust them.
Yeah.
I trust them. I trust them about as much as I trust Kentucky, even though I know I just gave Kentucky some credit. They're almost untrustable.
And actually, as we record this podcast, North Carolina did just beat Miami, but they actually let them get all the way back and only won by 4. So that's a very bad Miami team that North Carolina really let hang at home. So, all right. So move on to records or updated records. I had actually a pretty good week in college basketball. I won 55% of my bets this weekend. I'm now 338, 272, and 1. So 55.4%.
Yep. I don't know about the weekend, but I know for the week, went 23 and 21. So just keep hovering right there. Overall record 473, 426, and 15. Who the fuck has 15 pushes?
That's hilarious.
That brings my total to 911 picks, still on the road to 1,000 plays. For anyone that remembers, we came out the gates extra spicy. I think I had 164 picks the first week. of college basketball. Been a little bit more methodical of late, but still producing.
All right. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast. We did talk about it before the podcast, but it's kind of a bad week in college basketball. It's kind of like they're like giving us a down week right before
The big
rivalry
ones.
week next week.
Yeah.
So we're in the second to last week of college basketball regular season, and honestly, the best game or a really good game to highlight doesn't happen until Wednesday. Number 11 Auburn at number 4 Tennessee. These two teams rank in the top 6 each in KenPom right now. Auburn actually ahead of Tennessee at 5.
Yep.
Tennessee comes in at 6. Obviously, very efficient defenses, both top 5. Very efficient offenses, both top 21. Very good teams here. KenPom actually has this as a 3-point win for Tennessee. I'm going to take the Volunteers at home. They're very good at home. That should be a ruckus crowd. I know Auburn's great at home, but they're not nearly as good on the road. So I'll take Tennessee to knock off Auburn here.
Yes, I think I love everything you just said there. But in addition to that, I'm also going to take the over. Tennessee, obviously this year, which they have not had last year or the last 3 years, is an offense. Auburn's going to push the pace. Tennessee will try to stay with them. Tennessee at the end, though, is a better defense, and Auburn is not as good a shooting team on the road.
Like that. We have nothing on Thursday, nothing big on Thursday, nothing big on Tuesday. So we're going to move it to Friday. Oh, guys, we are only recording one podcast this week because I am traveling to Boston, so I will not be able to record on Thursday. But luckily, we have a pretty down week until Saturday, so we are able to still cover all the picks. But Friday night, a must-watch game. Number 21 Dayton at Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago really started off the season poorly. Did not get off well. I think they started 2-3 to start the season. But they have been on a heater. They have won 7 in a row and 10 of their last 11 games. And at home, let's check their home record real quick. I'm pretty sure it is a very big home. Yep, 12-2 at home, with one of their losses being the first or the second game of the season at home. So Loyola, very hot right now. Dayton coming off a loss on Saturday to George Mason, 71-67. KenPom has this as a 3-point game, so we're basically looking at a pick 'em. Who do you like in this one?
Take Loyola, they're the hot team, but I also take the under, especially if it's anywhere close to 133, as we've already talked about. Dayton, super slow. Loyola, if you remember the first, maybe second episode we did, Loyola also does not put the ball in the bucket. So take the under in the game, but I do love Loyola Chicago. They have been great, by the way, to gamble on in the last 2 weeks. They're automatic damn near because their totals are lower. And when they play just slightly fast-paced teams, you easily hit them.
Yeah, I love it. I'm also going with Loyola as well. When in doubt in these big mid-major conference games, you got to go with the home team, especially when they're the hotter team. As you mentioned, Dayton, one of the slowest teams in the nation. They are the 3rd slowest team in the nation. So this game will be a slugfest. It will be low scoring, but I will take Loyola Chicago at home to win this one.
Love it. Ready for rapid fire?
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
We got rapid fire.
Got 5 minutes to go through 6 games. Saturday, number 24, Florida at number 18, South Carolina. I like the story of Florida so far this season, but South Carolina, I watched them on Saturday. They look good against Ole Miss. I'll take South Carolina to get the home win.
Keep it simple, stupid. You do the chop. Florida.
Oh, okay. There we go. A huge matchup on Saturday. Number 7, Kansas at number 15, Baylor. Does Baylor get a bounce back home win here, or does Kansas get a huge road win?
I don't know who Kansas is. They're basically dead to me, but not dead to me. And I actually been impressed with how Baylor has been playing. I'm taking the Bears at home.
Okay, I love it. This is a huge game if you are looking at the Big 12 standings, because Kansas basically cannot lose another game if they want to try to extend their run of winning the Big 12. That being said, I think it does come to an end this year. I think Baylor gets the home win. Much different game when you're playing against Houston compared to Kansas. Kansas is not nearly the team Houston is.
Correct.
Oh, this one's an ugly one here. Number 13, Illinois at Wisconsin.
Jesus.
The Kohl Center will be rocking, but will Wisconsin actually show up? They have not been good recently. We already talked about Illinois, how I just cannot buy them. So seeing I cannot buy them, I guess I'll take Wisconsin at home. But I'm going to avoid this game.
Just take the cheese in this instance, baby. Just take the cheese. We're on Wisconsin.
Maybe the game of the weekend, number 5, Marquette at number 12, Creighton. Huge matchup to see who's going to get that number 2 seed in the Big East.
Yep.
Who do you like?
As long as Marquette doesn't wear those god-awful blue uniforms on the road, I'm taking Marquette by double digits.
Oh, by double digits. We got another game where we're going to go against each other because I'm going to go with Creighton, the higher ranked Ken Palm team, and they're at home coming off a shocking loss last week, and I think Creighton gets it done against Marquette.
Can we just for a moment, I know we said rapid fire. Remember early in the year we talked about how they lost two of their best players to transfers, Creighton did. Can you imagine how good they would be
I
if they just
know.
kept those guys?
Yep. Yeah, if they still had Nimhard, their point guard, my goodness, like that they would be legit. I mean, they are legit, but they could be like top 5
Yeah.
legit. Yeah.
They'd be great.
Yeah. All right, number 4, Tennessee at number 14, Alabama. This is the second, obviously, big game for Tennessee in 1 week. This one on the road. Alabama, they can score with anybody. I think this crowd will be absolutely insane. Can't wait to watch this game. I'll take Alabama, though, to beat Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm taking Alabama as well. I actually do kind of think Alabama's a sneaky Final Four team right now.
I agree. That's going to be a very difficult matchup for anyone in the tournament when you only have like 1 or 2 days to prepare for a team that can score at will.
Yes.
Then the last game on here, really looking forward to this one. A very late game. I think it starts 10 p.m. Eastern.
This isn't even a tough game to pick.
Number 23, Gonzaga. Really hot right now at number 17, St. Mary's. I think we all know where you're going, but go ahead and go first.
I've been putting this flag in the ground every year of this podcast. I'm not getting off of it now. We're going St. Mary's. Always going to be St. Mary's. Never not going to be St. Mary's. Roll Gales.
I like it. I like it. Gonzaga has won 11 out of their last 12. Very hot right now. Their only loss, though, in that time to the hottest team in the nation. That is St. Mary's. Hasn't lost a conference game. They're just shooting up the brackets right now, just improving their seed every week. They get this one done. They sweep Gonzaga, and I have a feeling we see a third match of this in the is it WCC? Yeah, WCC
yes, sir.
finale. I know we didn't put this one on here, but I want to just alert everyone of another game to watch because not a lot of people have been watching South Florida this season. They now are ranked number 25.
Yes, sir.
And they have a huge road game on Saturday, 4 p.m. South Florida at Charlotte. Charlotte's 11-4. Nobody's been watching them either. South Florida, though, finally looks like they might be able to get that at-large bid if they don't win the conference. So I'm going to really be intrigued to watch this game. I think they do get it done, but that's just a note. 4 p.m. Saturday, go watch South Florida play Charlotte in a huge American battle.
South Florida might be the team this year that everyone complains about not making it in.
Definitely. All right. Again, we only had one podcast this week, so we'll be back next Tuesday for a recap of the weekend and more picks. Go follow us on Twitter. Jordan's at MingoMade1. I'm at Kyler Cliffy. Best of luck, and thank you again, Bob, for the Werometer.
Guys.